So hi, today I'm going to explain to you the Hippodrome of Constantinople, of Istanbul. I'm going to start with the Obelisk of Theodosius, and then the Serpentine Column, the Wall Column, and then at the end also the German Fountain. Now that's the oldest monument we have in Istanbul. It's 3,400 years old. It was erected in 1450 BC by Emperor Thutmose III in the Karnak Temple. Now, if you've been in the Karnak Temple, there's an entrance. It has a lot of entrances, but in one entrance there's a huge obelisk, and the right side is missing. So they should be, they are very near to each other, but that's missing because that's here. Now the story is, the son, there's a helicopter. The son of Emperor Constantine, who built the city, his son Constantius II had the 20th anniversary of coming to power. So he brought it from the Karnak Temple and put it onto a boat in the Nile. It was brought to Alexandria, and it was re-erected in Alexandria during the time of Constantius II. Later, in 390, Emperor Theodosius I, some say the real Christian emperor, brought it from Alexandria to the Hippodrome of Constantinople. Hippodrome means horse racing arena. So all the special things, including this Serpent Column, are located here. Now there are a lot of inscriptions, but unfortunately almost the half of it is gone. It is 19 meters, but 11 meters are missing. That's a big problem, and that's what I hate about this obelisk. We have good information. The Emperor Thutmose III explains his victories against the Mitanni kingdom, a not well-known kingdom. However, researchers, people who research the ancient times, they know the Mitanni kingdom because they were very strong at the time. They were in the place of Iraq and also southeast of Turkey, and there was a huge battle on the banks of the Euphrates. And I recommend you to research about that war, how Thutmose III won against the Mitanni kingdom. Now the thing is, the historians call Thutmose III the Napoleon of Egypt because he was a conqueror. Now how did he conquer so much land? What was happening in Egypt? So surprisingly, there was a queen, Queen Hatshepsut. She was, in Egypt there's no queen, there's only the king, and she had the titles of kings. But the thing is, while the stepmother of Thutmose III, Hatshepsut, ruled in Egypt, made stability, the real pharaoh, the real king, Thutmose, made these conquests. He conquered Nubia, some Libyan tribes, and he almost conquered all of Mesopotamia. That was the biggest extension in the history of ancient Egypt, and the first empire of the world became the ancient Egyptian civilization. Now, up there we have the king, and he's kneeling down in front of the god Amun. We also have that in the present obelisk in the Karnak Temple. I'm gonna zoom in for you because you won't see this. So that's the sign of Horus. Horus is the soul of the pharaoh. He is half god, half human. You see here at the top, you see the king kneeling down. And the god he's kneeling down to is the god Amun. And Amun means the hidden one. So that's the hidden god. And above we also see the king with the god. And as you see here, there are hieroglyphs. And this is the real name, the kingly name of Thutmose. It doesn't say Thutmose, it says Ramen, Kheper, and so on. But the real name is missing, okay? That's his birth name. His birth name is Thutmose. So, and the hieroglyphs, I can read the hieroglyphs because I studied also Egyptology in my PhD. And there are some one-letter hieroglyphs, 2, 3, 4 letters. Some of them are just symbols and so on. For example, the I is read as Ir. People who know how to read hieroglyphs, they know about that. Okay, now let's see the base. So the base shows the Emperor Theodosius I, the last emperor of the United Roman Empire. Before he died, he split the empire between his sons, two sons. It was a peaceful split. Eastern Roman Empire, Western Roman Empire. It was custom at the time to split the empire, by the way. It happened before. But later the West fell. That's because of the invasion of Attila against Europe. Later the East, so Constantinople, survived until 1453, 1,000 years longer than the West. So that's why the East is more important. Okay, that's Theodosius I, the ministers, and they watch the games of the Hippodrome. So if we look down, by the way, that's the real and the original place where the Hippodrome was located. It was not that high, okay? It was almost 10 meters lower. So here we see the horse races. Look, they're racing in the Hippodrome. It's amazing to see these things. A lot of people who come here, they don't look at these details. It's good to see. On this side, below we have an inscription starting with difficilis. I mean, it's a Latin inscription. On the other side, we have a Greek inscription. And here it says how a man, probably an architect, named Proclus, erected the obelisk with the power of the Emperor Theodosius in 32 days. So it's incredible. I mean, we don't have a lot of obelisks explaining how it was erected. But here we have an inscription. Also, I will show you on the other place how it shows how it was erected. By the way, above the Latin inscription, we also look at the king. Look at his face, scar face, and he has something in his hands. That's the crown. He gives it to the winner of the race. Okay, so he stood up, and the winner gets the crown. So that's the crown. Look down a little bit. What do you see here? These are dancers. You see, the Hippodrome wasn't only a place for horse racing. There were theaters, musicians. Look, that one. That's a sign of a music instrument. And also here. So there were music organizations, and we know from the history that the Emperor Justinian, who built the Hagia Sophia, fell in love with a woman from the Hippodrome. So in the time of Justinian, who built the Hagia Sophia, the emperor slept with a lot of slaves, with a lot of dancers. Okay, we call them dancers, but you know what I mean. So he fell in love with a woman here from the Hippodrome. Her name was Theodora, and they married, and she became the queen. From dancer to queen. It's amazing, right? Theodora's story is amazing. She's a wise queen. When there was a rebellion in the Hippodrome, maybe I'm gonna explain it to you as well. There was a Nika rebellion, the biggest rebellion in the Roman Empire. Nika means victory, like Nike. So they wanted to exile and to punish the emperor because he raised the tax prices and he lost the war against the Persian Empire. Okay, I'll explain to you about the rebellion. So they wanted to crown a new man. So there was a name. So they said this is the new emperor. So every minister said to the emperor Justinian, to flee the city, the capital of Constantinople, to save his life. He also wanted to flee, but his wife Theodora said, it is better to die as a royal man than to die as a coward. And that stuck with the emperor. I mean, if your wife tells you something like this, probably you will also stay. So they stayed, and they waited for the army from Persia to return. Okay, they lost the war, they were returning. They waited here for months, and then the army came, and everybody was afraid. And Justinian told the population, if you come to the Hippodrome, I will forgive you. And the population came, around 30,000 people. We don't have the places to sit anymore. Only we have, if you want to see the stairs of the Hippodrome, there's a museum there, the Ibrahim Pasha Palace. It's now a tiles and a Turkish carpet museum. Below, we still have the places to sit in the Hippodrome. There you can see it. Of course, you have to pay to get inside. So everyone came here, and the army encircled the arena, and the gates were shut, and it stood like this, and the population became confused. What's happening? Then all the gates were opened. The army went inside, and 30,000 people were killed in one day. Historians say blood flooded in Constantinople at that day like a river. It was a crazy day. After that, the population hated Emperor Justinian, and because he was hated, he asked his wife Theodora, what should I do? And she said, God business, good business. So do something for God and the people will like you. And he made the Hagia Sophia. That's the background story of the Hagia Sophia. It is connected to the Hippodrome, okay? So that's why the dances here are also important for the history of Constantinople. Okay, now I was on the other side, now I came here. There's the entrance to the Blue Mosque. So here again, we see the emperor watching the games of the Hippodrome. You even see the army, look, they have some lances. And also cheering people, and down there we also have workers. Look, there's a man. I think he's ordering them to work. Look, this is how they erected the obelisk. Look, this is the obelisk, and this is the only obelisk in the world that show how they built an obelisk. Look, there are even some hieroglyphs. I mean, it was not well made, but still it shows how they did it. Probably they made a hole and then carried it and like this erected the obelisk at that time. Very beautiful details here. So okay, here again we see the emperor. He's chilling. I mean, he looks like he doesn't care. Why? Because below we have some men. Look, they have beards. Why? Because these are barbarians, okay? These are barbarian tribes. They come in front of the emperor and they bow down. They surrender. They even give some gifts to the emperor. So the emperor is above all the barbarians. Here we have the Greek inscription, almost the same as the Latin one. Explains how the obelisk was erected. Obelisk of the Hippodrome is my most favorite thing in Istanbul. I love ancient Egyptian mythology, history. I did my PhD about the king Akhenaten, about his religious reforms, and he destroyed the names of Amun, for example. Yeah, and most of the names of Amun are made after the iconoclastic times of Akhenaten, but I'm not gonna go much into detail about this. I'm turning around, and here we have a new column called the Serpentine Column, which has more interesting story than the Obelisk of Theodosius. So the Serpentine Column is the second oldest monument in Istanbul. That's the oldest. So it dates back around 480 or 490 before Christ, okay? So almost 2,500 years old. It dates back to the wars of the Greek state against the Persians. The Persians took Anatolia, Turkey, and they crossed the Bosphorus with made-up ships. You know about the King Artaxerxes, maybe? If you watch the movie 300, you might understand me much better. So, according to legend, just when the Persian Empire invaded the mainland Greece, 300 Spartans with their allies managed to stop the invading army. That was the Battle of Thermopylae, okay? And they lost the battle because of some treason, and all of them got killed. One survived, and he reported back. So, almost 1 year later, there was another war. The Persian army, by the way, they came and they sacked the city of Athens. That was crazy at the time. And then all the Greek states, they understood, okay, the Persians are not here for fun. They are not here for money. They want to take everything from the mainland Greece. They want to conquer it and then put a governor on them. There's even a story that the king wanted the Spartan king Leonidas to be appointed as a governor of Greece, but he rejected. So, okay, what happened? 21 Greek city-states made a coalition. Some say that's the first European Union in the world. And we have the names of them here, by the way. The names of the 21 Greek kings. Only the Spartan king made his name, and then the other kings were jealous. They said, no, we also fought. So they also wrote their own names. The archaeologists, they know where they are located, but it's very difficult to see from blank eye, okay? So, what happened? In the Battle of Plataea, after the Battle of Thermopylae, Spartans, Athenians, the people of Knossos and so on, they attacked the Persian army. And they won, surprisingly. And the Persian army fled. And they left their helmets, their shields and so on the battlefield. And these were then collected by the Greeks. They were melted, and that column was made out of that. Originally, it was twice the size, and it had 3 snake heads looking to different directions, and water came out from their mouth. As you see, it's whole, it's empty, because it was a fountain also. The thing is, that was erected not here, of course. It was erected in Delphi, in the center of the oracle in the Greek mythology. So it's almost in the center of Greece. So, what's interesting, Alexander the Great was educated by Aristotle in Delphi. So they saw this monument. They were around this monument in Delphi, and it was in the center of Delphi. And why in Delphi, by the way? Because according to legend, the god Apollo, the sun god, in one of the mythologies, he killed the Hydra. And the Hydra, as you know, was like a dragon. He had different heads, a lot of heads, but he had something to do with Delphi, the temple of Apollo in Delphi. So that's why he was erected. That was erected in Delphi. So how did it came here? 390. Emperor Theodosius I. We saw the emperor in the obelisk on the base. He wanted to expand the hippodrome, and he brought these from Delphi to the hippodrome to show his power and also to make it much more beautiful. In 390 AD it came here. I mean, I love the history about that because I love the movie 300 a lot. If you didn't watch the movie, and if you want to visit Istanbul, I would strongly recommend you to watch the movie, because also in the movie it shows the king Artaxerxes crossing the Bosporus by combining ships and making a bridge by combining the ships. Okay, they have the elephants and so on. It's an amazing story. By the way, I forgot to mention about that column. The Serpentine Column got destroyed in the 18th century by a thunderstroke. A thunder struck the Serpentine Column, and the heads got crushed, and the big part, the upper part, was also destroyed. One of the heads in the Archaeological Museum of Istanbul, we have that on the left side of the Topkapi Palace. One is, unsurprisingly, in the British Museum of London, and the third part is unfortunately missing. We know from the paintings from the Ottoman times that it was here very big, and there was a legend among the Turkish people. They said that when that's a magical column, they said. Because of that column, scorpions would not enter the city of Constantinople. But after that was destroyed, the serpents and scorpions returned to Constantinople, they said. I mean, still some people believe that it's a magical symbol. They also said that the Obelisk of Theodosius is securing Istanbul against earthquakes, but we had a lot of earthquakes after that. Later, I will show you a secret, something that nobody knows. I will show you the real hippodrome from behind. I mean, look, behind that there's a building, the Marmara University. Behind that, it goes down, and there you can see the hippodrome from below. I will go down. It will be not easy for me to go down, but I will show it to you, okay? So, here is the obelisk. Here is another obelisk, but it is from the Byzantine times, okay? It's some believe from the 10th century. It was erected by Constantine VII, and there's also an inscription. It also mentions the son of Constantine VII. So the thing is, there were bronze plates and the plates showed the victories of the grandfather of Constantine VII. His name was Basil I. So he fought against the barbarians, and he showed how he defeated the barbarians. So where are the plates now? In the 13th century, the Italian Crusaders came to Istanbul, to Constantinople. It was a Christian city. The Crusaders wanted to attack the Turkish people, of course, the Turkish tribes. But they came here, and the emperor promised them that he would pay them when they are in Constantinople. So the army came. They waited for the emperor to give them the money he promised. However, at that time there was a coup, and the Byzantine emperor was put down, and another man was crowned as the emperor. And the new king said, "I did not promise you anything. That was the emperor before me." So the army became very angry. In 1204, almost like 800 years ago, they took the city of Constantinople, and they stole many things from the Hippodrome. For 60 years, Constantinople was a Latin kingdom, okay? Ruled by Italian-speaking people. Normally people speak Greek here. And they tried to make it a Catholic city. And they turned the Hagia Sophia into a Catholic church. And they also took the bronze plates and they melted them. And Byzantine historians say that they converted them into coins, okay? So they stole this. What else did they take? They take the statue of Alexander the Great from the Hippodrome. So there was a statue of Alexander the Great, of Hercules, of Egyptian gods, all of them taken by the Italians. That was very unfortunate for history. And they say they stole so many things from Constantinople that the Byzantines, after they retook the city in 1264, it became very weak. And after 2 centuries, they lost against the Turkish people because they were weak from the occupation of the Italians. So it was a very bad time for the Byzantines at that time. Okay, let's look closely at the obelisk, at the wall column. It was newly restored, by the way. It was in a very bad shape. We have pictures of them before the restoration. It's bad. I mean, you could climb up there, okay? They are almost like stair-like. And the Janissary army, if you wanted to be accepted as Janissaries, you have to show your power. And the people who wanted to show their power as a soldier, they climbed up this tower. They climbed it up at the top, and so they showed that they are eligible to be a soldier, to be a good man. So it was used by the army of the Ottoman Empire. So if you want to see the inscription, have the blue mosque behind you and look at the column. Here is the Greek inscription. Here in Greek, the emperor Constantine VII compares that column to the Colossus of Rhodes, to the one of the 7 world wonders. I mean, it's crazy. They say it was much more beautiful. Some even say there was a golden globe on top. It was also stolen. But it's amazing that, he says that at one time there was a Colossus in Rhodes. But now we have our own Colossus and something like that. You can read it on the internet. But it's a little bit funny because, in my opinion, that doesn't look so beautiful. I mean, look at the obelisk, how beautiful that is. Previously, it might be a lot better. Now I'm gonna show you the side of the Hippodrome, as I promised. Look, that building is the Marmara University faculty. The director is here, okay? And there's a way going down. So that's the Blue Mosque. The way goes down here. If you follow that way, you will be in the place where I'm going now. So there are some colorful Turkish houses, but I'm going down. To the Marmara University faculty, there are some additional buildings of the Blue Mosque, which are now almost forgotten by the population. So, okay, as we come here, you see something on the right side. Look at this. Look at the beauty of this. This is the real Hippodrome, okay? This is how it looked like the Colosseum. There's even a fountain from the Ottoman times. Look, I'm gonna touch it for you. Look at this. Look at the tiles from the bricks and mortar from the Roman times, 4th century. Probably it goes deeper down there, down to the earth, because as I showed in the Hippodrome, I mean, many things are below the earth, and that probably also was below the earth, but still it's big. I mean, I could not climb up there, and the stones are very, very strong. I mean, it was very good made. That's why I think it stood for 1,000 and almost 1,700 years. Look, there is the Marmara University. It goes down. Look at this. So when Christianity became the state religion of the Roman Empire, they abandoned the gladiator games. So it would be nice to imagine the gladiators fighting here. I love the movie The Gladiator, but unfortunately there were no gladiator games here. No, I mean, it's a bad game. Letting slaves fighting to death. That's why Christianity forbade gladiator games, and they at the Christian times in the Roman Empire, the horse racings were very popular, like football games in these days, and there were even some clans. There were the richer clans, the aristocratic family had their own clubs. I mean, there were some clubs, and these were not only sports clubs, these were also political clubs. I mean, some emperors were part of one guild. Crazy times. Here we see a transition. I mean, that's certainly not from the Roman times. From here it ends, and then it goes with normal constructions. I wonder what's inside, you know, but it's not allowed to get in there. I mean, there are random stuff. Look at this. Look at these trees, grasses. No, nobody cares about this. I mean, that's historical. Why are you not? Look at this. I mean, you can draw in tourists with a restoration with that. Wow. That's good. That's amazing. So, okay, now I'm returning to the Hippodrome, and I'm gonna show you the German fountain. By the way, the Hippodrome, the first Hippodrome of Istanbul was built by Septimius Severus, a Roman emperor. Before the city was built, there was a village here at the time, and the area was called as Byzantium. That's why the historians call the Eastern Roman Empire the Byzantine Empire, because of the ancient name. Emperor Constantine in 324 expanded the city. By the way, Septimius Severus also built a wall around Constantinople. Constantine also built a wall, expanded and renovated the Hippodrome, but the greatest expansion was during the time of Theodosius. Hippodrome, okay? That's the Blue Mosque, and at the place of the Blue Mosque was the Byzantine palace. Don't forget that. The emperor went to the Hippodrome from the palace, from over there. Transition, it goes there, and there is the wall column, and there is the obelisk, okay? You see? It's on top of the Hippodrome. By the way, here, that Ibrahim Pasha Palace was the palace of Ibrahim Pasha, a grand vizier in the time of Sultan Süleyman, his best friend. Later he became so strong he made his own statue. He became rebellious, so the Sultan executed him, and then that was incorporated to the Ottoman family. And you might ask me, why did the Italians didn't steal these three things? Because these were too big. They could not carry these things to Italy. That's why these things stay in Constantinople, thankfully. When I'm walking towards the German fountain, here we have a new this year, Hagia Sophia History and Experience Museum. I mean, it's amazing. If you've been inside the Hagia Sophia, and if you are keen to know more, then you have to visit this museum. I mean, I was once inside. I fell in love with it. Really, just go there and experience the Hagia Sophia from the Byzantine times to the Ottoman times and up until the modern Turkey. They make good slide shows, and there are even some artifacts from the Hagia Sophia from the ancient times. So now I'm in front of the German fountain. It was made in Germany, that's why we call it the German fountain. And here we have the Hagia Sophia, by the way. So the German Kaiser Wilhelm II visited Istanbul 3 times. On his first visit, he sold German rifles to the Ottoman army. So a lot of German rifles, Mauser, Krupp, and so on. Later, in his second visit in 1898, he wanted to make a gift to the Ottoman Empire because he had long ambitions. First, he wanted a military alliance with the Ottomans, but the Sultan Abdulhamid II at the time, he was suspicious of him, so he didn't make an alliance. So, in the second visit, he also wanted to build the Berlin-Baghdad railway. From Berlin, a German could enter the train, come to Istanbul. We have the Orient Express here, and they get out of the Orient Express, they go to the other side, to the Bosporus, and there's another train station. And from there, they go to Baghdad. And he also had an intention to connect Baghdad to India. Why? Because he planned a big war. And he wanted to transport the German troops and the artillery quicker to the Eastern Front. Because if he wants to fight against the British Empire, he also has to defeat the British Raj. And also he has to secure the Persian Gulf. And also the Suez Canal. So that's why that was the intention. But what's interesting is Sultan Abdulhamid II, he has a lot of secret police. They uncovered a German report about the oil fields in Iraq. The report said the oil fields in Mosul, northern Iraq, the oil fields there are much more precious than the oil fields in the Caucasus. Oh, and a lot of archaeologists were sent. A lot of archaeologists were sent by the German Empire to Iraq. However, the secret police also noted that these were not archaeologists; these were geologists. So they looked at the oil fields and they made a map of the oil fields. So they wanted to transport the oil in Iraq to Germany, to Berlin. Very ambitious. First Ottoman Sultan, he was suspicious, but then later the economy was in a very bad shape, so the railway would help the economy. So he approved, they made the railway, and the Sultan also expanded the railway from Syria. It went down to Jerusalem and then down to Medina, to the holy place in Islam in Saudi Arabia, near Mecca. So a lot of things were happened here. So it is a symbol of friendship between Turkish people and German people, but also the symbol of downfall of two big empires. Because what happened? In the First World War, the Germans tricked the Ottomans to enter the war because German ships passed the Bosporus, they had Turkish flags up, but German ships with Turkish flags. They attacked Crimea, and that's why the Russians declared war on the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottoman Empire was included in the First World War. So, I mean, the Germans were not as nice. I mean, it's a symbol of friendship, but it led to the downfall of the Ottoman Empire, okay? So be cautious when I say friendship. So I will show you the interior of the German fountain. So the interior has Byzantine mosaics, and with mosaics they made the name of Wilhelm II, the sign W and the Roman number 2 below. That's Wilhelm II. And that's Abdulhamid II. He ruled for 33 years. That's his Tuğra, or the signature, as we call in Turkish. And there's a Ottoman poet about that friendship. And these are porphyr. We have 8 porphyr columns, and we have a stair. Also an inscription there. I also gonna show you inscription, but let them take pictures. In the middle we have a fountain, and on all sides we can drink water. Right now, I would not recommend you to drink water because it's not so clean as the government tells you that it is. So be careful with that. And I'm gonna show you the inscription. By the way, look at the floor. It's also like a Byzantine style, isn't it? Very beautiful. So here in German, if you can understand German, you can read this. I will make a summary. The Wilhelm II, German emperor, he endowed the fountain for Sultan Abdulhamid II in the year 1898. The thing is, that was made in German, and it was demolished. I mean, parts of them were sent by ships, and that it was erected here. But the Ottomans planned to erect it in in exactly 1900 on the 25th anniversary of coming to power of Sultan Abdulhamid. However, it's delayed. The construction got delayed, so they opened it in 1901 in the birthday of Wilhelm II. So it's very amazing. It's a late construction, but we still see some mosaics. I mean, it shows how the German architects, researchers, they can do a very good research about the Byzantine Empire. It's amazing, it's beautiful, I love it. So okay, that was my video about the Hippodrome of Constantinople. Something like this you cannot see anywhere in the world. It's amazing, one of a kind, a lot of stories I've talked about today. If you understand the Hippodrome, you can understand the Byzantine Empire very well. Thank you for listening. I made a lot of different videos about Istanbul, comprehensive guides, free guides. I don't take money from you. I don't say come and I will be guide to you. No, just free for free, okay? When you come here, listen and remember me. Thank you.